Hi, everybody. So Anya and I are here together. Welcome back, Anya. She's had
Hi,
an
it's nice to
epic
be back.
trip. Yeah,
It
so
is nice
good.
to be back.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've had really an expansive adventure as always. I don't ever know, like most people have a knowing that they're going to be gone a little while or like they're going to be missing for a little bit, whereas my higher self doesn't seem to let me know. I just seem to up and go, and then time goes by, and then all of a sudden I've been missing in action for a little while, and then I feel the call to come back. So that's kind of how I roll, but it's nice. It's very nice to be back. I've been itching to get back on and back sharing some beautiful energy with everybody and with your beautiful self.
yeah. It's been so fun. It was so fun to see you in Florida. And
It
we
was
did come
amazing.
together, quite a few of us in Florida,
Mhm.
which was nice. So, we're going to talk about soul groups today and how they pertain to projects and forgiveness and things like that. And also how these last two shadows, which one of them we're in the middle of. So today is solstice, it's the 20th. And for the next couple of days, we're going to have some really big energy.
Mhm.
So this has to do with the masculine shadow that's moving through.
Yeah.
And that is the twin shadow to the feminine shadow that moved through already, that has to do with creation. And if you remember, and Anya remembers this, but if you remember, we talked about how the male souls were asked to suppress the feminine. So the masculine was asked to suppress the feminine, and that's how humanity was able to stay in this deep density
Yep.
for so long. So that happened around 30,000 years ago,
Mm.
and it basically is being released now. So forgiveness is a big thing.
Mm. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
interesting you bring that up as well because, I myself fell into the agenda of feminism quite a few years ago because a part of my soul felt so suppressed and felt so wronged. And I was looking for answers. And in the human world, that kind of category of answers felt like the most fitting at the time, even though in reality it did more damage to my inner self, my feminine and masculine energy, my relationship, my dynamic of who I am as a being. Like it really distorted a lot of that and made me question a lot of what would just usually come naturally because of what I felt like I had to be doing or believe due to certain, beliefs that I'd chosen to go under. And I think it was really clever how it was done because it was created to attack each other and created to
Hmm.
be in that inner conflict, not just internally in the inner masculine and feminine, but then externally, literally between men and women, where it became to the point of, extreme brutality and fear against men. And it became a us versus them kind of dynamic. And I definitely felt the shift over the past couple of years into a more harmonious space. But incredibly, in the past couple of months or the past couple of weeks specifically, it feels like there is a big opportunity for the masculine souls to find their truth and to find their voice. And I think it is quite triggering for a lot of men at this moment. And I mean this without any disrespect, but I do observe a lot of men being triggered at the moment and being kind of in conflict with themselves, not knowing how to express this emotion and not knowing how to address it within self because they're not necessarily taught how to communicate. So
Hmm.
I think there's a lot of conflict going on, and some men are dealing with it better than others, like some women did, in the ascension. It's not necessarily a competition, it's just in regards to what stuff we've got going on inside. And there might be women that are also experiencing this masculine shift if they've got more of a masculine oversoul or more of a predominantly masculine soul that will be affecting you as well. So it is interesting to observe this kind of finalization of this conflict that's been going on between men and women for as long as I can remember.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, but it's also extremely intense.
Mm,
And I've noticed that groundedness really doesn't exist that much at the moment. Like this shadow has kind of left being grounded behind for a little while. And I think people will be more grounded after the shadow integrates and is healed. But
Yeah.
right now we're almost kind of in like a floaty space.
Hmm.
And the energies are really big. And a
Yeah.
lot of it, I think, is because the masculine soul has been not allowed to express any kind of emotion.
Yeah, I
So
agree.
there's confusion there. Yeah.
Mm.
Um,
Confusion and pain, it's like it's deep rooted. And what you say about the
yeah.
grounding, I have been literally laid on the grass for about 4 hours yesterday in a sleeping bag, just laid on the grass. And then today I went to the riverside for the first time since coming back to England because the weather's quite nice. And, was in the water and sat on the sand at the side of the river and really immersed in grounding today and yesterday. So that's quite interesting because I wasn't picking up that on a conscious level that I wasn't grounded, but subconsciously I was being drawn to ground a lot more over these past couple of days. So that's very
Mhm.
interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working that well.
No, no, I think it's
Yeah.
just keeping me by a little bit, just
Yeah.
stabilizing.
Yeah. Crystals will help,
Hmm.
but what crystal would help and what crystal would a man wear?
Yeah,
Probably black tourmaline would really be good at the moment.
yeah. Tiger's
Yeah.
Eye is quite a good one. Yeah,
Yeah. I
100%.
want to talk about two soul groups because we're getting ready for projects. The whole point of these shadows being integrated is getting back into creation energy,
Yeah,
and creation is going to be the projects that we do because we're not going to have normal jobs in the future. And a lot of us will lead the way with not having normal jobs. It's already happening all over the place, but that's going to become more and more prevalent as we go through ascension.
yeah,
And thinking about what you want your project to be and planning it, talking to your project, those kind of things are really important right now.
hmm,
And also allowing your soul group to be part of it is
yes,
important, and knowing that you can trust them,
I agree. I agree.
which, yeah, that's been a big part of this healing. Because
Mm,
in the
still very
past, part of
relevant.
the soul group was negative and part was positive,
Yeah, yeah,
you
and there was
know.
a need for discernment. We wasn't shifted out of as ego as much as we are now, and we
Mhm.
wasn't in as confidence as much as we are to discern what aligns with us and what doesn't, and who aligns with us and who doesn't. And I really feel like, only speaking on behalf of myself, when I was approached to creating a new project recently, and the way I was going about creating it, the whole intentional frequency had changed. I am used to being quite hyper independent and also quite stubborn and like to do things on my own. And I think it's because sometimes it was the only way to get stuff done in the way that I wanted it to the standard I wanted it to be at. So it was not a negative choice. It was just something I felt that was a necessary choice at the time. Whereas going into creating this new project that I've been building, it was very clear that I was being sent a message that I needed to co-collaborate and communicate and delegate jobs and, create a team on this one and not try and do it on my own, because that's why it becomes so stressful and that's why it becomes more human, is because I'm trying to do all these different things that are not my gifts and not my speciality and not my purpose here on this earth, and they're actually taking me away, taking my energy and time away from the things I'm meant to be doing, which is creating the visionaries and bringing in the ideologies and the things into the earth from the astral realm, and then figuring out how that works. And so yeah, it's been very much clear that cooperating with the soul groups at this time, and not just cooperating with them, but also trusting, like you say, and asking for help and being vulnerable enough to ask for help, and seeing that everyone has got a very special gift that we are all channeling into and that we can all bring to the table with each other, and that we can trust those that we feel vibrationally aligned to at this time.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not idle in the
Yeah,
astral plane. All of us have things that we're doing, and you're basically uncovering those gifts while you're here in
yeah,
this reality. And it's so much fun, you guys. And everybody's gift has something else. Like it's a part of the puzzle, it's a part of the way that the universe works. You're contributing to that. And uncovering your gift is a beautiful thing. whether you think it is or not, really. Because
Mhm.
some of us bypass our gift. Like we're like,
Mhm.
well, that's not that special. I know how to do that. But really, to somebody else, it could be very special.
Exactly.
Yeah. So just knowing that is important. And these gifts are coming in, they're being uncovered. And also the projects are like right there. You can feel them. And you can also feel the switch over starting to happen. Like if you're doing any kind of watching of, anybody's shows, you know that things are starting to switch over and there's a lot of change happening. So it's just a really good time just to be alive right now because we've kind of come through the hardest part. And this last shadow, it's not the last shadow that exists, but it's the last one that really shifts things into a new realm, I feel
Mhm.
like.
No, I
So
agree. I 100% agree. Sorry about that distraction. I just had the dogs
it's
back, and that's
okay.
why I had to mute. They just heard someone coming in. But no, I think everything that we're saying for me, it's like a spider diagram, and it's all attaching to each other. So we have the shadows that are integrating in, the masculine shadow and the masculine soul that's integrating in. We then have the projects that are coming in and the soul groups that are then integrating in, and the trust and the forgiveness and the expansion of self. And it's like everything is intertwined. And throughout that, there is also the conflict as well. Sorry about the dogs.
That's
There
okay.
is the conflict of the inner self and the conflict between the masculine and feminine that is present as well at this time, I feel, because the masculine is being triggered in itself, and then the feminine is struggling to be grounded throughout this process. And also there is a lot of expansions going on there too. So I feel it's difficult to provide a stable place to hold space for each other right now. And so that is what's creating more of a conflictual environment. So if you are in a partnership or you are with family and friends and it does feel a little bit more tense right now or a little bit more triggered right now, I do think that is pretty normal. And I do think that is kind of the theme that's going on at the moment. So I would just kind of suggest journaling and getting. I spent about 2 hours journaling today when my little man was sleeping, and it really helped me release a lot of the overwhelming things, even just to-do lists, and in then to the spiritual things and integrating the
Mhm.
things I need to integrate. And it's just really important, I think, to connect in with that inner voice and learn how to actually bring all the parts of the spider diagram into a whole, because I think we sometimes only focus on one thing, like we get stuck in that shadow that we're integrating. I mean, I used to do that a lot, get stuck in the one lens, and it's easy to do that when it's so intense.
Yeah.
It's some people are experiencing it physically right now. There's physical purges and there's physical illnesses. And I had like flu-like symptoms, if you will, but without the face flu, it was more like body aches and back pains and shadow integrations and physical detoxing and all of these things as I'm blending in this masculine shadow. So it's not necessarily an easy ride, and it's not always a pleasant thing. And it is easy to get stuck in the one perspective. So I think it is important to kind of zoom out a little bit and look at the multifaceted things that are going on all at the same time, and to realize that it's okay to be struggling on one day and then to kind of breeze through it the next day, and to kind of go from one step to the other. You don't have to run up the mountain, basically.
Yeah. You don't have to run up a mountain and you don't have to overwhelm yourself. And you can say to your partner, listen, I love you. I'm stressed out right now. So I love you. I'm going to go in the other room and just try and get a hold of myself. It's
Yeah.
okay to do that
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
these energies are big. And it's
Yeah.
okay also to spiral the energy out of your body. So, like, if you're having like anxiety, think of a spiral and spiral it out of the top of your head, the bottom of your feet, or even the belly button. And any energy that's not yours, take it out of your body. And
Yes.
then call all of your own energy back to your body and
Yeah.
protect it
Hmm.
so that
100%.
you can upgrade, but you're not dealing with other people's stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I like to plug into source. Like I'm literally plugging a phone charger in, plugging into source and reconnecting back to call my energy back. Cord cutting's really good. So I like to cord cut and release any energetic cords that
Mhm.
I've built up that day or with that person. And you can always have like a bubble or something that's putting you in your own zone, like
Yeah.
a force field shield that's keeping you in your energy field that's fluid, so you're not holding stagnant energy in, but
Hmm.
you're not also absorbing anybody else's energy. And say if you're out and about and you notice someone else's energy is real whack and you're not liking that energy over there, and you know that, like for example, my dad is very sensitive to picking up energy, and it can really throw him off his whole day if he's around someone negative. He can absorb that really quickly. So when we was in the taxi the other day, I felt it from the taxi driver. So I bubbled my dad and I made sure he was shielded from absorbing any negative energy from the driver, to make sure that he wasn't picking up the frequency from the fella that was driving, so that he wouldn't ruin his day or mine. So that can also
Right.
work if someone else struggles. Obviously the higher self will only ever allow you to do what's in the best interest for them
Mhm.
anyways. But that is a tool that you can use for children and for family members that are not consciously protecting their energy as much, but they do need to.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a really good thing to bring up. It's important. I do it with my parents. I do it with my husband,
Yeah,
you know. I do it with the car. So, and if I'm with someone that maybe I don't know that well, or maybe I'm feeling a lot of energy coming in from other people, I will actually put up a cellophane mirror between the two of us.
yeah.
And that reflects their energy right back to them. And then I cut all the cords and I clean everything up and I get in
Mm.
my own energy again. So whatever you have to do to kind of be as calm as possible through the process, I think is good. But you don't have to always be calm. You just don't want to be lashing out at other people while you're in
Yeah,
the middle of dealing with the shadow.
yeah. No, to be
Yeah.
honest, that's, if I'm being very vulnerably honest, that's something I struggled with the most throughout over the years, is that I am not an internalizer. I will admit I am a bit of a projector, not intentionally, but I used to be. And when I feel overwhelmed and dysregulated, my little cat's popping her head in. It's a little animal friendly house. When I'm feeling very dysregulated, I do struggle with not becoming vocally overwhelmed. And that is something I work on every day intentionally. And it's something I felt being harder to regulate at the moment, and being harder to keep calm and keep regulated and explain myself in a very calm, articulate way, rather than just getting overwhelmed and being frustrated, because my patience is thin and I'm not feeling grounded and I'm not feeling stabilized, and I'm feeling more of a fight or flight survival energy in my nervous system than a very calm flowing energy. And I'm having to constantly, not constantly, but intentionally work on rebalancing that. And I've noticed that. So maybe that is something that's also going on in the collective.
Oh
And
yeah.
again, like the energy, like we was talking about earlier, I like to also pour gold in, pour gold, green, white, blues, anything like that into the crown that can help. Breathing techniques, music, everything like that can help. And like you were saying, a mirror, I do use the mirror. And also, when I forget, my higher self or spirit likes to sing that return to sender, and then it tells me to return their energy back to them if I ever forget. And also, if you don't want to send it back to them, you can send it to source, but it's just saying get it out of your frequency, basically. And I think
Yeah.
there's loads of techniques we can use, in sort of reclaiming his own energy. And going back to what we were saying about the soul group, I've been a lot more vulnerable in asking for help with my soul group and with my soul family. And, if you've not necessarily connected with yours yet, ask in the astral realm. So set out like a beacon for
Mhm.
your, in the highest heart frequency, set out a calling from your soul family to assist you with whatever you're dealing with. If you don't physically know them in the human realm, they're there communicated with you in astral. So they'll answer the call. If you don't answer my call physically, I just pop up there in astral and ask you up there. So I imagine that everybody that doesn't know the people physically, they're going to be up there connected in the same way. That's what I believe, anyways.
Yeah, I totally believe that. And
Mm.
the dreams that are coming into people, the experiences, people are having such amazing experiences right now.
Yes.
Just kind of rolling with that and knowing that if you're having a dream, it actually means something.
Mm,
and it does have to do with the astral plane. And you can also in the morning, like when you wake up, you can go to the bathroom, come back with your glass of water and start writing down
yeah.
what you can pull in from the astral plane as
Hmm,
well.
hmm.
Like, what were you doing there? What were you experiencing? Did you have a
Yeah.
fun night or did you have a like exhausting night? You
No.
know?
I had a very tiring, exhausting night the other day. It was not a nice experience. It was not
Yeah.
necessarily staying or anything like that. It was just I woke up so exhausted, honest to God, like I'd been grafting all night, physically working with my hands and digging. And obviously I physically won. I felt physically exhausted in this body. So it can really overlap, whatever you're doing in the astral right now, the veil isn't there like it was before. So there isn't that forgetness. What's the word? Forgetfulness, is that the word?
Yeah. Yeah.
That not remembering. Um, there isn't the disconnect from the physical body. Sometimes we used to have the odd symptom and the odd feeling, the odd bruise, but now, like, I
Mhm.
think we're feeling 90 to 80 to 90% of what we're doing in the astral realm, we're physically remembering in the body and in the cellular memory, and we're bringing that back with us into the human experience. So I think that's really interesting to remember on the days that we're giving ourselves a bit of, jip for not cleaning as much or not being as productive or needing to sleep more when we might be doing a lot more work in the astral realm. So just kind of give yourself that reminder.
Mhm. Yeah. And if it's not the astral realm, it's a parallel.
Yes,
So
yes,
there's that too. And we have to
yeah,
remember that all of us, we're all basically in the universe doing things and participating in different learning games.
yep,
So, we're actually all in the same place, just that we can't see each other. Just like when the ETs will finally be seen, um, physically, and we heard one last night, the footsteps,
mhm.
and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I looked over at my husband and I was like, did you hear that? And he's like, yeah, it was probably an ET. And then he just went right back into his normal, what he was talking about. So
Nice.
you know when somebody's ready and you know when somebody isn't ready to see.
Hmm.
And we're close to that right now. And you can vibrate up to be able to see them at this point if you are ready. But if your body just bypasses it like that, then you're not quite ready.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's for a reason. It's not like,
Hmm.
because I used to get triggered by that when I was younger, especially when I was a young tarot card reader at like 17, 18. I was like, I am ready. I'm ready for everything. And I didn't realize, like, girl, you ain't ready. And that's why I understand now that it's not even about being mentally ready. Sometimes you might think you are there.
Hmm.
It's about being able to physically handle that frequency in your actual body. So
Yeah.
sometimes it's a frequency thing and it can cause massive headaches or tiredness or sickness or anything like that. Sometimes it can also be like very overwhelming and create the fear that we don't want to create. And in the nervous system, if your body's in fight or
Hmm.
flight, it's probably not going to be the best thing. So there's a lot of different reasons as to why they might not be coming forward at this time. So it's not because you're not capable, it's simply because the frequency is not necessarily aligned at this time. So the best advice is not to force it and let it come, and be connected outside in a safe place. That's where I find more of a connection, because I don't think my inner self likes the thought of beings in my home anyways. So I think I prefer to see them outside. So that works better for me usually when I'm out stargazing, at the above. I like to they always come out and show themselves there, and connecting on an astral level.
Hmm.
So that's how I work with them. So each person will be different in what you're comfortable with, and like when he says, what you're ready for.
Yeah. What you're ready for. And it's getting close. Like we're becoming more and more ready, and we'll have some of these like little incidences that bring them closer and closer. And then all of a sudden you're going to see.
Yep.
So it's, we're in a really fun time right now. And remember that as you dive into your projects or your new business or whatever it is that you're doing with creation in the future, remember to have fun.
Mm,
And remember, it's not, I should do this. It's, I want to do this because I'm inspired to do it. So you
yes,
want to have the right energy when you go into stuff. And if it's not for you, then find something else that inspires you,
mm,
makes you happy.
I
Yeah.
100% agree with you. That's the only way I can find to work. Like when I got the idea for the retreat, it was in 2020, I think, in the summer time. I really had no idea what that was going to be, and then when the idea came again in 2023, I think it was, yeah, well, last year, that's when it felt I vibration, like I was being pulled, I was being called, I was getting ideas, I was getting, visualizations and things were coming in. And, it was beautiful, beautiful experience. And it was exactly vibrationally, everything went exactly how it was meant to. And it was the same thing with the workshop day. And then this year, I was like, oh, I might run another event. I might not. And I kind of just sat with it because I can't do anything unless I feel that pull to do it. And for the first half of the year, I was like, yeah, I'm not getting a pull to do anything. And I was like, maybe I'm not meant to do anything this year, And I told some of the people in my small Tuesday group, I was like, I don't think I'm doing anything this year, guys, I just like, And then literally like 2 weeks later, I was like, well, I've had a message. And that's the thing, it just comes from a message. And when I get that message, it comes with force. And it's like, girl, you've got to create this vision. And it feels like a need. Sometimes it feels like a need to create this into reality. And it's exciting. It feels fun and it feels joyful. And usually it's never about like a business or logistics. It's always about like, what is it about the fun side, the creation, the experience? Like, why is it even coming in the first place? And that's always
Yeah.
what comes forward for me first. And I think this is something that the feminine soul has kind of worked through, because I still have some fears, don't get me wrong. I still have the odd bit of it, but I have the ability to have an idea and have no physical way at that moment in creating that idea, but know for a fine fact that that idea will become a reality. And yet, when I talk to the men close to me, like my partner and my dad, there is a lot of fear and there's a lot of, well, what about this? And what about this? And what if this happens? And what are we going to do about this? And there's a lot of like that human. And I'm like, listen, we'll get there when we get there, it'll all be fine. And it's like, I just trust that when the vision comes, it's going to happen because the visions come. So I really do have the faith in the vision and the faith in the frequency. And I think that's kind of what we've got to do at this moment, and show the men as well, because that's what I kind of have to remind my partner and my dad is like, well, didn't let me down before, has it? I've had no way of doing it before and it still happened very successfully. So I think that's sometimes the reminder that they need, is there is a different way. We don't have to do it in the slow building, working every tiny step and stressful human 3D experience. It doesn't need to be that way. But
Mhm.
I think it's just showing them first so that they have the trust to be able to do that.
Yeah. We're kind of capable of manifesting like a tornado of things at this point.
Mhm.
And just do it. Like just go with it and know that it will work out, and it will. Like, and allow for things to not be exactly the same as you picture too,
Exactly, yeah.
because that can get in the way because it could be better than what you picture. So
Yeah. I
allowing
learned that.
that to happen.
I learned that the hard way. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, I've learned that a few times because I like to micro control things, and then the universe is like, please, we've got something a lot better coming for you. And I used to get really upset about the things that don't happen. And now I have such knowing that whatever door closes, it's because another one is meant to open. So
Yeah.
that is a very like trusty saying I use when I feel deflated or disappointed in something not going the way I thought it was going to. I always remember that there's another door that's going to open that's leading a lot more joyful and abundant ways.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much opportunity. That's why so many things are falling away. That's why so much purging is happening. And that's why these shadows are healing and integrating. So enjoy it is my big thing. And then I'm gonna put Anya's links below. So if you need help with anything, if you're not feeling like you're integrating, if you need an individual session, then
Yeah,
Anya she's open to doing that for people still, which is great. So
I am.
I'm
I've been
gonna put
having
that.
very beautiful sessions lately. Not loads of many, but quite the ones I've been having are very activating, and I've really enjoyed them, which has been really nice to experience. I've been able to see how people are just truly surrendering to the expansion, and it's been really beautiful to witness. So yeah, I'm very open to that. I thought I'd pick us a couple of cards for today
Sure. That's fun.
because I got the message to do that, so I didn't think you'd mind my little sweetie pie. Let me flip them around though, because I feel biased now because there was the other way around. So if they come back out, we'll allow it, but if not. So I started
Okay.
reading cards when I was 17, and then I stopped reading them. Not stopped, but went to channeling the higher self and doing all the visions. And I very rarely use cards, but every now and then I like to pick them up and I like to connect with them. And lately, they've been a great way of channeling messages in a lot easier way than not easier, I think more relatable way. And so
Yeah.
I've really found them a good way to connect with as a bridge at the moment. So I've kind of reconnected with my cards a little bit, and I'm using a normal tarot deck. Well, I don't know, it's kind of a tarot deck. So we'll go into them, and then I'm using my own deck, which are available for pre-order. I love this deck, but I'm only going to pick one from this deck. Oh my
They're
God, imagine.
huge and fun. That's fun.
I know they are literally they're so chunky, and I made them when I was going through my awakening, and they're affirmation cards, so they're not tarot, but I read with them, which is, you can either just use them as a guide, like as daily messages, or I use them to tap into my frequency or other people's frequency. So it's kind of up to you. But when I made them, I literally made them on post-it notes for myself. There was just affirmations. And then everybody used to come around and use my cardboard affirmation cards. And so I was like, maybe I need to do something with these. So I designed them myself. Me and Brad, he helped me do the back, and then I designed them myself, and they're all in there.
Beautiful.
And yeah, they're available. I've sold out at the moment, but they're available for pre-order. So what we've got for the collective, for the solstice, for the full moon, and for this awakening in June is the Lover's card, which you kind of got a glimpse of before, which for me, obviously, it's kind of summarizing everything we've been talking about with the divine feminine and
Mm.
the divine masculine. And if you actually look at it, it's got some really interesting things there, because for me, this is representing the mountains that are activating underneath, and a lot of the crystals that are activating underneath the grids, and also
Mhm.
the Tartarian energy of what's been going on in the planet. I feel like that's going to be surfacing, the history is going to be resurfacing out from under the ground. And then we've got the angels at the top, which is signifying the unionship and also harmony. But I do feel it's divine protection, and also like the angels are assisting more so in the masculine ascension than they did in the feminine ascension, because they need more stability, more love, more. They don't
Yeah.
have, it's like when masculines get scared and fight or flight, it's a fight response usually. So they need kind of a love and grounding and nurturing energy at this
Mm.
time, which the feminine aren't feeling because they're being triggered. So it's like the angels are stepping in a little bit at the moment to bring some balance in the human realms. And yeah, I feel like this is signifying the growth that's going on in the ascension and the growth that's coming off. There's many branches to go down, there's many different walks of the ascension we can go down, and it's about exploring what's right for you and not going down someone else's path just because it's there. I think that's very important. So these two are connected with each other. We've got, is it the Five of
Oh
Cups? I think
yeah.
it's the Five of Cups. I call it the depression card, though, obviously, as you can tell. This is representing the shadow that we've been
Mm.
integrating. So it's the sadness and what I've been observing in the masculine oversoul is there's a lot of guilt and there's a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
shame and there's a lot of feeling of not being man enough. And I feel like this was targeted for a reason as a child, and it's something that's used to belittle men, and it's something that's used to really wound them, and the whole society was then established to take away their role as a masculine provider and as a man. So they don't really have any purpose and role, or they're figuring that out now, but it's been very disconnected for a long time, which have created a lot of feelings of lack of purpose, lack of self-worth, and lack of love, and a lot of guilt and shame, which is kind of embedded into the male souls. So So I do feel that there is a big release needed at the moment, which is why this card
Mhm.
is connected, because that's communication. As the throat chakra
Yeah.
starts to flare up. So communication is really, 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 really important. And if, as a male or a feminine that is a masculine energy, struggles to communicate, write things down, record it on a dictaphone on your phone and delete it if you need to, write it down and burn it, get rid of it, whatever. The whole point is getting it out of your body, visually, watching it kind of in your mind, imagining it leaking out your feet like a tap, releasing all the heavy energy and really calling upon your guides, your angels, and your animals at this time, your spirit team, to support you through the shadow purging. And the last card is the affirmation card, which is I am visualizing a new world full of peace, freedom, harmony, joy, and unlimited love. Today I am manifesting a new earth. So that's pretty
Ooh, I love
self-explanatory.
that.
There's not many
Credit
like that. There's about
solstice.
3 cards like that in the deck. So there's 82. So for that to come up, it's pretty cool. I really pretty like that.
That is
Did you have
cool.
anything you wanted to add, honey? I didn't ask at the time. I didn't want to I didn't know, but I just wanted to ask just in case.
No, that's spot
No,
on.
right.
I really feel like that's where we're at. Like
Mm,
we're at the point where we're the balance is shifting and we're shifting into the positive in a much bigger way.
I
And
agree.
this shadow integrating is really like stirring that up. And as it
Mm-hmm.
integrates, we will see some crazy stuff, but we all know that on the other side of that is something so good and
Yes.
so powerful. So this is going to be a really big summer, it feels like, and just enjoy it. Enjoy it
Mm-hmm.
and start thinking about what do I want to do? You
Yes.
know, who am I
Yes.
and what do I want to
100%.
do? Yeah,
I agree. And yeah, hopefully we're not letting out any details yet, but we are planning something quite exciting for later on in the year. So that will be quite exciting for everybody. Give the opportunity a chance to get together and yeah, have a nice time. So that's
yeah.
going to be pretty cool as well.
Very excited because we have a gathering planned
Mhm.
in the US and a gathering planned in the UK.
Yep.
So lots of good stuff is coming, you guys. All right.
Super
All right. Love
excited.
you guys.
Thank you for
Thank you,
having me on,
Anya.
beautiful. Thank
Thank you
you.
so
See you soon.
much. Okay.
Bye, guys.
Bye.